Alright tech family, this is a story of a laptop that could have been great. Great for so many people, but due to HP's rather bizarre choices, it is not. Instead, what we have here is a laptop that is just above average, and only really viable for certain people at a certain price point. Now don't get me wrong, I personally enjoyed using this laptop, I really did, as I fit into the user segment where this laptop shines. But that's what makes this review so frustrating. It's a story of lost opportunity. This laptop could have been so much more. So buckle up and let me show you who should buy this laptop and what price you should buy it for. And FYI, I am doing orthodontics right now, so if you see something weird on my teeth, that's the explanation. Alright, the Dragonfly brand is something that HP has had out in the commercial space for some time. They're kind of like a high-end laptop for business users. If you've ever worked in a large corporation, you'll know that many of them cheap out on the laptops that they buy their employees. So, high-end in the business space is around, say, mid-range in the consumer space. Anyway, recognizing that commercial and personal users are actually the same people, HP is trying to launch this brand into the consumer space, calling this laptop the HP Dragonfly Pro. But what you're about to see is that this laptop is neither Pro, nor was there any reason to introduce another brand into the consumer space, making their lineup more confusing. Let me first outline who I think this laptop is good for, and the way I'm going to do this is through a process of elimination. What we have here is a premium feeling 14-inch laptop that's somewhat portable. It's actually quite heavy for a 14-inch laptop, especially considering it does not have any powerful graphics capabilities. So straight away we can rule out anyone who needs a laptop for graphics intensive tasks. Yes, the AMD integrated graphics is better than Intel's, but you really aren't going to want to buy this laptop if you want to do any AAA gaming or say video editing. So what about CPU processing power for people who might need that, say, like software developers? Well, initially it looks like this laptop performs well. In HP's press material, they position it as a competitor to Dell's XPS 13 Plus and Apple's MacBook Pro 14. In Geekbench, which tests common performance tasks, it performs similar in multi-core to the XPS 13 Plus and the original M1 version of the MacBook Pro 14. And in single core, it lags a bit. In Cinebench, which tests how the processor performs under full load, it does very well in multi-core, but lags a bit in single core compared to other processors from 2023. This isn't surprising, as even though this is a 7000 series AMD processor for 2023, it's actually one of AMD's misleadingly named ones, as it is a Zen 3 processor. That's the architecture that came out last year, rather than a Zen 4 one from this year's architecture. But, the scores I just showed you are actually hugely misleading. All you need to do is run the Geekbench test a second time and performance drops a ton. Check out my 2 Geekbench scores that I ran in succession on screen. Big drop. I tried this same test on both my Dragonfly Pro laptops, I have 2 of them, and on multiple different BIOS versions, F10, F11 and F12. The performance drop is consistent no matter what. I mean, check out how inconsistent my performance results are on this laptop, as I ran the benchmarks multiple times. You can see it on screen. This is insane. I initially thought perhaps this is due to HP software which controls the performance profiles. You can't set this laptop to a high performance mode like you would on other laptops. Instead, HP switches it back to balance mode as they control the performance themselves, as in they try to determine when you need high performance and when you don't. But then I ran Cinebench on a loop for 10 minutes and compared it to my performance results of a short single run. A big drop again. It appears that this laptop cannot sustain its performance for any duration of time. The cooling solution, it just isn't good enough given the max speeds that they allow the fans to run at and the temperatures they allow the CPU to get to. So given what I already said, I wouldn't recommend this laptop to someone needing a lot of CPU performance. Switching to light users, those who just use their laptop for casual tasks like browsing the web, using Office applications and things like that. Those tasks, they just don't require a lot of CPU performance. The laptop was extremely snappy for those. That being said, all it took was to install a new application and the fans would kick in. They weren't overly loud, but they were high-pitched, like a soft whistling noise. This made the fan noise more noticeable. In comparison to Dell's XPS 13 Plus or the MacBook Pro 14, the ones HP compares this laptop to, this just doesn't happen on those. Let's now look at the rest of the laptop, starting with the ports. You've got 3 USB-C ports all supporting charging, and 2 of which are Thunderbolt 3. The issue here is that you have no variety of ports, no USB-A, no HDMI, no SD card. And what's really tough to swallow is you have no headphone jack. I rarely use a headphone jack, as I mainly use Bluetooth headphones, but the admission of this, it just kind of sucks. For example, I couldn't plug the laptop straight into my Studio Mackie speakers, which would have been nice. The display is initially very pleasing to look at. It gets plenty bright and has excellent contrast. You will notice in my B-roll it is very glossy and reflective. When actually using the laptop though, that wasn't much of an issue. Now, even though it has a large 14-inch screen, you can't really take full advantage of it, as the screen isn't that pixel dense. The laptop is only available with a 1920 by 1200 resolution panel. Stretched across 14 inches, that is only a pixel density of 161. A MacBook Pro 14, that is significantly sharper at 254 pixels per inch. This means that content isn't as crisp on screen, and when I ran my test of how many rows of Excel I was comfortably able to see without needing to squint, at a Windows scaling setting of 125%, you can see that I was able to see a lot less information on screen than on my Dell XPS with its 4K Plus screen, and a lot less than my MacBook Pro 14. Given this, I wouldn't really recommend using this laptop for something that involves a lot of small text, like say software development. And I'm not done with the screen. Although colors are accurate for viewing content on screen, they weren't quite accurate enough for professional color work. So, given what I've shown you so far about this laptop, you can start to see a picture forming that this laptop, it really shouldn't be masquerading as a pro laptop. Onto the keyboard. It is surprisingly satisfying to use. When I first felt it, I didn't like it, as I immediately noticed how low travel the keys feel. Plus, the keyboard is off-center to fit that extra column of HB special keys. More on them in a sec. But the more I used the keyboard, the more I enjoyed it. Yes, it is low travel, but it has this incredibly satisfying click when you press the keys. You just want to keep typing. The trackpad is similar to the keyboard. I initially didn't like it. It felt extremely slippery. But after I lowered the cursor speed a couple of notches, I got used to it, and I really started enjoying it. But let's go back and talk about those HB special keys. You are meant to use them with the MyHB app downloadable from the Windows Store. One key is programmable, one allows you to reach HB support, etc, etc. I have several issues with these keys. Firstly, none of the keys worked on either of my Dragonfly Pro laptops. Actually, that's not quite true. The support one worked, but when I tried to start a live chat to diagnose the other keys not working, the live chat never opened and that didn't work. And when I tried voice chat, it just opened a phone number to call. When I tried the virtual assistant, it was as useless as they always are. HB, I would suggest using OpenAI in the future for such things. But as of right now, this button is useless, and it's annoying that it wastes valuable space on the keyboard. This leads me to the fact that only one of these keys is programmable. All should be if they are taking up room on my keyboard. And lastly, by having these keys, it makes the keyboard off-center and makes other more useful keys like the left shift key smaller. Look, as I said, I got used to the keyboard and did end up enjoying the typing experience, but this is just poor product management and a wasted opportunity. Battery life is one of the strong things about this laptop. I ran my test, which runs a Netflix video on repeat over Wi-Fi with the screen lowered to 200 nits of brightness. After 4 hours, I recorded 68% and 66% battery remaining. That should be a very solid 12 hours of battery life for this use case. A couple of additional things. The chassis feels high quality, as I said, but the bottom edge is a bit sharp. I would be wary of using it in an environment where you don't have adequate support for your wrists, say on an airplane tray table or sitting up on the couch, as it will cut into you. Also, if you are planning to buy the ceramic white-colored model, heads up. HP is notorious for putting light-colored keyboards in laptops with a light-colored backlight. This makes the keys very hard to read from certain angles. Actually, on the colors, I have the sparkling black model, and it seems to have chipped rather easily, so just a warning on that. Windows Hello facial recognition login worked well. The webcam is so-so. Here's how it looks and sounds in excellent lighting conditions. And sound from the speakers was loud and clear. That being said, it lacked the fullness, bass, and overall power of a MacBook speakers. The power brick is strangely a 96 watt one, but I never measured the laptop drawing more than 60 watts of power in my tests. Given how heavy the laptop is, it would have been nice if HP provided a smaller charger. Every gram counts. Let's wrap here, as I think the picture is now clear. Overall, what we have is a very good premium feeling laptop for those doing lightweight tasks like browsing the web and working on office documents, so long as you don't need a headphone jack. Unlike this laptop's name would have you think, we do not have a laptop here that is suitable for intense professional work that requires processor or graphics performance, or a high-end display for that matter. With that in mind, I really think this laptop should have been launched as a refresh of HP's Envy line. Those are mid-range consumer laptops. As a refresh Envy, I can see this being a nice step forward for HP, as it does feel more premium than their prior models in this line. It should not be misleadingly named Dragonfly Pro. What further worries me is this laptop has all the hallmarks of one that will look great on display at a retailer like Best Buy, and people may buy it, misleadingly thinking they are buying something that this is not. When it comes to pricing, for a model with 16GB of RAM and a 512GB SSD, you are looking at a price of $1,400 US. There is a Chromebook variant for a lot less, which given what I said about who this laptop is for, probably makes more sense. Anyway, for $1,400 US, you can get a MacBook Air M2 with either a 512GB of storage upgrade or a 16GB of RAM upgrade. Heck, you may even be able to get both, as that laptop has been out for a while and regularly goes on sale. For the type of user that this laptop is for, the MacBook Air is so much better than this one it isn't even funny. You don't have annoying fan noise, you have a much better display, better sound, plus graphics performance that allows you to do things that this laptop couldn't dream of, such as video editing. You also have other Windows laptops like the Asus G14, which isn't that much heavier than this one and has much more powerful graphics. It often goes on sale for close to $1,100 US. Heck, you can buy Framework's fully upgradable laptop with a real Zen 4 processor for around the same amount. In my mind, this HP Dragonfly Pro really starts to be a good laptop around the $1,200 US price point and below. I hope this video helped you make the right buying decision and helps HP's product team do better next time. Let me know in the comments below what laptop you'd buy if you had $1,400 US to spend. And if you did like this video, make sure to smash that like button and get subscribed. Not only does it show your appreciation for the insane amount of work that goes into making these, but as I always say, it makes my mother very proud. Actually, you might want to ensure the notification bell is on, because I have some major channel announcements coming. Till next time, go do something awesome with your day, and I will catch you later.